No. So the answer is move on. My message is very simple to you guys. I believe you all have challenges. Some of them are big, some of them are small. Doesn't matter. Yet there are still challenges. The message is always to find that one reason why you started it. Why are you doing this? What's the long term vision? What is it that I want to do? How long do I want to hang around? How long do I want to play small? It's very hard, the building. Every person you see successful, you want to be successful. They say, well, it's so hard and nothing moves forward. Yeah, all of them went through the same story. Everybody in his or her journey, in his or her experience. It doesn't matter what it is, but it's always moving forward. Now, when you look at things, for example, this topic we talked today about is to try to make the values in front of you, to take value for yourself and ask yourself, hold on, when I look at Facebook, at Twitter, at Instagram, or for example, Messenger, WhatsApp, Telegram, I mean, all messaging app, everything is for free. Why should I bother joining something that is in beta phase, which is quite limited with features and options for now? Yeah. The entry is quite high when I can actually have everything for free somewhere else. And that was the question, is everything free somewhere else or not? And the truth is, no, it's not. It seems to be free because we are being fooled. And that's all an illusion. Now, I'm not here to be a conspiracy theorist, to tell you, no, actually, it is for free. I'm trying to tell you that you're being fooled because the vaccine and COVID, I don't know what kind of stuff. No, that's not my message today. The truth is that our data is very important. And as much as it is important to ourselves, it is way more important to other parties. And why? Because we don't earn from our own data. See, when you possess your passwords, your emails, your bank accounts, your PIN codes of your credit cards, your name, your addresses, your habits, your hobbies, it's just information. We know we got to keep it to ourselves. We're not supposed to tell it to anyone, maybe to our spouse, if we trust them really, or maybe the best friend, that if something happens, God forbid, somebody can save my family. But it's not something as a value, a monetizing value. To others, it is. The more information they can get about you, and I'm not talking about your bank account, and I'm not talking about your PIN code to your credit card. It's not that. It's what is your interest? What are you looking for? What are you searching? Your daily behavior, your hourly behavior. What times are you online? What times are you? Which websites do you visit the most? What are your biggest searches on Google or virtually every search engine, on other social media platforms? What are the topics you talk about? So they can maneuver these information, which is called data, and sell you their stuff. See what I mean? Now it sounds all like, really, come on, really? I know. I used to be the same like you, nonchalant, totally nonchalant. But lately, the more I dig into it, or the more I get this information from all kind of friends. I mean, people like, for example, I take Hina or Inger, or I mean, I look at the screen now. So you guys send me sometimes stuff, and I start reading articles. I'm like, oh my god, is that for real? And then I start researching it. I look at the resource. Is it for real? Is it like some bloggers or not? You start finding out it is for real. It is for real. When you work with people, when you hire people to a company that did previous projects in other jurisdictions or other companies, and you start talking about ideas, they tell you, look, this you can't do because, I mean, if you sell privacy, you can't do that. But why not? Oh, you know how they do that? Yeah, they trace you. What do you mean they trace? Yeah, they track your information. I mean, like, what for? And then you start to learning new stuff. Although it is not directly my department, I get to know this information, and that makes only my vision stronger. And you know what that vision is? To get as far away as possible from that kind of stuff and provide actually a platform that brings to the people what their humanly rights are. I talked about this idea a long time ago, and I'm talking like a couple of months ago, to try to explain it in our language, what that means a breach of privacy. I asked you then, imagine if you would send a letter to a friend of yours, to your mom, to your child, whatever that was. Imagine the idea, you put it in a post box with a stamp, with the address of the recipient, with your address in case it get lost. Imagine the person that works in the post office opens up and starts reading that. I'm not saying redacting stuff. I'm just asking about reading your letter. And although maybe it's not private, it's not confidential, it's just a talk between you and your child, between you and your mom, or you and your best friend. How would it make you feel? Let alone the fact that imagine they would redact stuff from the inside because they don't want this message to go across from you to the other person. How would that make you feel? It sounds ridiculous, I know. Now, due to COVID, we have forgotten a bit how it looks like going out to a restaurant, maybe. Yeah. But imagine the person who serves you listens into your conversation. Would you feel comfortable with that? Or would you tell them, excuse me, I'm fine, I'm not hungry, just bring me my drink, you don't need to stand up here? Or would you bow to your friend at the conversation, or lower your tone? Yes, you would, because you don't feel comfortable, even though it's not confidential information. The third person that is not binding to the conversation should listen in. Imagine a step further, they would listen in and tell you, hey, in our restaurant, you cannot talk about these topics. How would that make you feel? Talking about privacy. I mean, we can go on and on. I use the same example. At the time, we used to get newspapers at home, sometimes free newspapers at home, with all kind of advertisements inside, where we needed to clip. I mean, some coupon that we could would use a scissor to cut it out and go with that 5% discount, or 5 francs in Belgium at the time, discount at a local shop or something. Imagine they listen in the conversation of the of you and your friend in the restaurant, or any outdoor event you're having, or they take together the person who reads your letters at the post office and decides, based upon that, let us target the advertisements in the newspaper towards you. That should be specifically only to you. It sounds cool. Wow, that's comfortable, because I'm not interested in all the other advertisements that I don't want. But at what cost is that? Do you really want to have these targeted advertisements that will suit you, customized for you, knowing that people are listening into your conversation, whether it's on your phone, in the post office reading your letter, or in the restaurant? Would you? And the answer is obviously no. You don't, right? The question is, but Mendy, that doesn't happen. Correct, it doesn't happen. Because in the offline world, it would be so awkward and so obvious that you would immediately take action against it. But in the online world, you don't even know. You don't even see it. You don't even know what's happening. And if somebody tells you, that's a conspiracy theorist, you're probably not going to take the vaccine as well. So I don't want to listen to your stories. You're from these guys. See what I mean? But yeah, it's happening. And I'm not the resource to it. I'm reading in the same places that you can get to. I'm not more privileged than you. I'm the same human being. You see me now in a small square amongst all the other 25 people on the same screen. I'm the same guy. But this scares a lot out of me. We gotta create an alternative for free. Really for free. The question is, okay, Mendy, if you vow and if you plead that this should be for free, why are we paying now? Why aren't free members allowed now in the stage? We had some deeper conversations within the management. I had earlier a long conversation with my partner about it, and we talked about this idea. Are we ready already to start exploring this chapter? Are we ready? The answer is definitely no, because our foundation is not yet ready. By all means, we can open up today for free members. That wouldn't change much. The question is, how far can we go with that? What kind of a building can we build on that? What kind of structure can we build on our current infrastructure? That is the question. We could have been free from the first day. Question is what we get so far. You got to take all calculations in place. But at least know the difference. The difference is, yes, currently you have so many platforms. You can chat, you can communicate, you can connect, you can share your content with others. That sounds for free because you don't invest any money in it. You don't buy storage. It's basically for free. The question is, what price are you paying? See, there are people, for example, they see euros or dollars or pounds or yen or whatever or rupees, for example, as hard cash, as valuable money. Cryptos, that's like the monopoly money. A Bitcoin, it's a nice to have. Why not? It increases in value, but that's not really the hard cash. Can you buy bread with it? No. I prefer my dollars. See what I mean? They don't really see the value that, yes, they want to have it. Why not? Even the people who are totally against Bitcoin, ask them if you can grant them 10 Bitcoins for free. They'll all give you a Bitcoin address. They'll find in 5 minutes how to get a Bitcoin address, and they'll tell you where to send it. I don't buy it. I don't believe in it. It's a bubble. But for free, they'll take it. You know why? Because they see the value. They still believe that the hard cash has more value than the crypto. It's very, very simple. When people will start realizing the difference? When people really start understanding what is going on currently, 2021, in the world. Now, this is not a theory. I'm not here to tell you that the governments want to control us and that's why they keep everything shut down and closed. That's not my theory. No. I mean, we can discuss that. It makes maybe sense in a certain argument. Depends how far we go with that. But one thing is for sure. Due to all lockdowns, manufacturing has gone very, very, very slow. That's a fact. The most companies cannot produce as much products because there's no so much demand because due to the lockdown. So one service cannot provide to the other service, right? Think about travel, for example. Travel is not just a plane. It's a catering. It's the tickets, the labels that put on the suitcase. Well, if there are not enough travelers, they don't need so many labels to put the label on the suitcase, which means the company that produces that sells a whole lot less. That means they need to manufacture less. I just gave you a stupid thing you never thought about, right? But I can go on and on. Think about the restaurants that have been closed for a year now. They don't need as much as napkins. Really, we're talking about napkins now. Napkins, as much as when everything is open, because people are not dining in. It's takeaway. That's it. Or some countries even that is limited. So they don't need as many napkins, which means the provider of napkins doesn't need to deliver so many napkins, which means he's not going to produce at full force napkins. Now, this is what I gave you some examples. You can start literally thinking of everything that due to lockdowns was more limited, that the production and manufacturing went on a very, very slow motion. Yeah, like really, really low. On the other hand, and that is not my information, you can research that, all governments, by far, some more, some less, not going to argue about that, have printed an enormous amount of money. Think about the United States stimulus checks. Think about the European Corona bonds they gave to people because COVID. They needed to. Especially with the first lockdowns, they gave people money. Stay home. The government will help you. They needed the money for somewhere, so they printed a whole lot of money. Yeah, they need to help us. Now, what happens if they open up now everything? People need goods. but there are not enough goods in the market. There's too much money. There's not enough goods. What happens? The goods are getting more expensive. That's 1 + 1 is 2. It's very simple. We're not talking rocket science now. If there's too much money in the market, too few goods, supply and demand happens, which means a hyperinflation happens. And the second the hyperinflation happens means the goods are going more expensive. People with less money cannot afford. The hyperinflation comes in the story. Everything that is related gets into the domino effect. Then people will start realizing the value of cryptocurrency. Because there's no inflation. With COVID or without COVID, there is a blockchain system that works. It is not with a feeling to a circumstance. It is not taking into account COVID situations. Numbers have no colors. They can't lie. These numbers in the blockchain, it is what it is. Set. Same counts for the Bitcoin blockchain, the PIVX blockchain, the Ethereum blockchain, and the Vitae blockchain. It doesn't matter what it is. This is how it works. Most people don't understand it. People who research this stuff will keep their eyes open and start looking in terms of economics, how things work. Be prepared. Be prepared. Now, I'm not suggesting what you should do. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just stating facts. This is what's going to happen. There are too few goods, too much money in the world. And pretty much when we start opening up and people are eager to go out and go back to normal, they want to live a normal life back, they're willing to take a vaccine if that's their path to freedom. It's not now the discussion should or should not, yeah? It's the idea. Manufacturing cannot go back full force at one moment and produce for the entire world at the same time. People got their stimulus checks. They got money from the government. They have the money. Problem is the goods are too expensive. What happens? The domino effect starts. The smart people will start investing in stuff that is not related to government. That's a fact. You'll see the rich get richer and the poor gets poorer. Question is, what can we do for the people? That is the question. What can we do for the people? So I think in terms of lockdown and COVID, when we all need to sit at home and use our laptops, our desktops, our smartphones, etc. I mean, for some people it's tablets, whatever. We want to communicate with the outside world. We use the form of social media. What if we can use the form of social media and make a better world out there? Help provide the needs of the people, not waiting for the government to give us money, but earn it ourselves by our communication and by our connecting together. What if we can elevate that progress to the next level? And when I ask myself this question, I ask myself, what did we do in the last year since COVID has started? Did we go forward? Did we build something forward? What if COVID takes another few years? Because nobody has control of how long this will take. I can speak for my country. What I saw today, a release of stages, depending on numbers in the hospitals, depending on how many people took a vaccine or not. It looks like it's going to be better. Yet the excuse of, hey, we have too many patients in the hospitals, we got to shut up, is always a possibility. I don't know how long it's going to take. Question is, how much is the maximum I can take out of this moment, of this time? It doesn't matter how dark it gets. It doesn't matter how hard it gets. I'm still going to make it. I still have to make it. That is what I got to live by. And it's not over until I win. That's a daily method of operation, daily activities, developing myself, investing in my own skills. Yesterday, I had an amazing call with the Albanian team. We're talking about a small team that has recently started, very young spirit team. I mean, shout out to the women, because it seems that the women in Albania, they are the full force there. Yeah. And one of them asked me a question. So at the end, we made like a small Q&A. One of them asked me a question. And the question was, Mendy, how do you see Vitae in 5 years from now? It's a question actually I should get every day, and it's a very rare question I almost never get, which tells me a lot, by the way. But let's not go into this argument now. The question was, how do you see Vite in 5 years from now? And my answer was, it's a question I'm thinking every day about it. I think very, very much about it every day, especially when I'm going to bed. They say the way you go into sleep, that's the way you wake up. I want to wake up with a bigger vision every day. And I know the more I think about the long term vision, my next day can be brighter. It can be broad. It can be big. It can be tweaked even more. So I think a lot about the future, really a lot. And I'm going to share with you my answer with them. My answer was very simple. I don't control stuff. Not everything is dependent on me. I can do the maximum I can do, but look, I'm not a billion people. So I can be a member. I cannot force people by the ear, hey, you got to be a member here. See? I see in 5 years that when people talk about social media, and I'm really very, very sincere about that, I'm really, really very serious with you. That's my vision. Now, a vision is not a promise. Make no mistake about it. Yeah. A vision is not a promise. I can look further down the road and I can see something, can really visualize to myself and do everything in my power to get closer to that vision on a daily basis, on an hourly basis. My vision is in 5 years from now, and I'm really serious about it, that when people talk about social media, as much as we give examples like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, etc., that Vite would also be a name mentioned when people talk about social media. That means, in other words, that we are that large in 5 years. However, I do not see ourselves as the number one social media platform in 5 years from now. Being very open with you. I don't know if you expect that from me, but I'm really, really very sincere with you now. I don't see it yet. Do we have the possibility? An absolute yes. But I'll be honest with you, it depends on two things. It depends on the mistakes the big tech companies are going to do up until then. And so far, if they keep doing the mistakes they're doing now, we're good. I mean, let's be honest about it. Yeah, I mean, because too much is leaking out. And it depends on the success rate we build. So it depends on both of them. You need both, actually. Yeah. The question is the possibility to be number one is there in 5 years? The answer is yes. The only question to that is how. You guys are ready? The how is very simple. It relates to piece of advice number 2, daily habit number 1. I believe by now you all have it already on your papers and your notes. Piece of advice number 2 is commit to 4 daily habits. Daily habit number 1 is be the number 1 fan of Vite. But really, the number 1 fan. Yeah. Now, I'm gonna, for a split second, scroll a bit the pages here on my screen because I want to find something. And I want to find something not Vite related. Yet I don't find it yet. Maybe I am onto something. Hello, Angelica, by the way. See, it's good that we scrolled sometimes during the meeting. Um, give me another moment, please. I'm sorry that I'm delaying you for a second here. Yesterday was so obvious. Now it's a bit hard. Wow, you guys are giving me a tough time now. I'm gonna try to see if I find here something. Um, Goretti, what's behind you? Johnny Walker? Well, that looks like a Johnny Walker stamping someone or Winston Churchill stamping someone. No, it's not Johnny Walker. Okay. Now I'm looking for a background of someone. Yes, you know what? I'll just go straight forward. Yesterday there was someone with a um, Brazilian flag behind him. Like you see now, Pachanta's back is a Vite flag. He had a Brazil one. So my reaction was immediately, look, we all know that this person is a fan of Brazil. We don't know yet if it's Neymar or just Brazil, but he shouts out something. He communicates with us something. Now, obviously, today here we see a lot of backgrounds of Vite. It's very cool. The question is every Zoom calling you do with your family the same background or just on this calls? Yeah, that's a question. But when you shout out, when you really attach your name to be the number one fan of something, you're a diehard supporter. What does that mean? It means very simple. If Facebook, for example, goes into shit times, you wouldn't care. Because if you want to connect with your friends, you still have Twitter, you still have Instagram, you still have TikTok, you still have so many messaging apps, you're good. If somehow, and that's just an example, I'm not suggesting anything, they lock up tomorrow Mark Zuckerberg, you might as well be happy. Because you decide for yourself, you know what, that guy is mean. He's using our data and he's exploiting our data and he's controlling the world, etc., 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 right? All kind of theories for yourselves. You don't mind. But if you're a diehard fan, but really the number one diehard fan of Vite, and maybe we run into a challenge that puts us into a live public challenge, yeah, a fight or something or law cases. I mean, every company has its dodgy times, let's put it this way, and you should expect everything can happen, right? I mean, don't think that the road up is going like this. It really goes up like this, you know? How much would you care? How much would you fight for it? It really depends on that. When Facebook or Twitter needs to fight someone, it's always the same names. It's Jack Dorsey, Mark Zuckerberg. When Google needs to fight someone, it's Mr. Bochai, their CEO. You don't know the entire entourage. It's not the users, because the users are not users. They're being misused. Our users are customers. They all are valued. They all mean something to someone, mostly to the company. When shit needs to hit the fan, it's not just the corporate of Vite that needs to fight it back. It's an entire entourage. Because every member feels you're touching me. You're trying to take away something from me. If everyone is a number one fan and you work with this, it's not just to the bad side. It's on the contrary. You're building up something. It's not just when shit hits the fan, then you make your noise. It's making your noise all the way around. It's helping building. If you look at it, this is my company. This is my story. This is my Vite. You're building up an empire that in 5 years could be unlimited to be the number one. You become really unlimited. And you become literally the number one platform. If everyone waits for another to do the work, the company, my upline, my colleague, the leader in the town, they should do the Zoom calls, they should do the events in case it's possible for you guys to make events already. Yeah. Then it's a one-man work. You got to wait until this person's ready because you all rely on this one man in the area. This one man has 24 hours. If 10 people take the lead in this area, it's 240 hours a day. You elevate something. You take leverage of the amount of power you have. You become unlimited. And the numbers are just doubling up because if 100 people take the lead in the same area, you work on 2,400 hours a day. That is power. You become unlimited. If it's 300 people taking the lead in your team, it's 7,200 hours a day. Imagine if those 300 are in your specific team. It doesn't earn you only $2,000 a day of your 24 hours job that you have with your boss. You leverage yourself with your team. See where this is going? You're part of building something up. You're part of making it unlimited. And when we all understand that conception, that if we all build together, we don't wait for someone else. Not what is the company going to do about the red IDs? The answer is nothing, zero. They're just looking for your butt to kick it out of here. That's all that the company is looking to do. Really, because with you guys thinking like that, we're not going to move forward. We're just going to hang back. We're looking to people who look only for green. I don't see in our logo, and if I look back here, I don't see any red in that. Life shows me green. Sees what I mean? This is what life shows me. Now, everybody has a different perception. That's okay. We're all different. We're humans. We come from different backgrounds. We have different colors. We're more colorful, maybe. It doesn't matter. Our stories may be singular, but our destiny is shared. And if we all adopt this concept, this perception, a new dawn of leadership is at hand. We can take this company as we are now, and as we are a toddler, in 5 years from now, to be an 8-year-old boy or girl, but be the best 8-year-old boy or girl that not even America's Got Talent or Britain's Got Talent or whatever that show is can beat the finale of what this could bring. This is really something that is up to us. The question is the perception. Should we argue, hey, Vitae is free or not free? The answer is no. The other platforms are not free. You just don't pay with cash. You don't pay with crypto. You pay with your data, with your existence. And the more they know about you, the smaller you get. Because every time it can hit you. Try building up a successful business on Amazon. They figure it out. They beat you with their own products. And they have more money to fight you when you come up with your lawyers and you put in your last dime to try to fight it. See what I mean? Try it. I mean, don't try it because you're gonna waste your time and your money and your energy, but whatever. It's up to you to make your own experience. The idea, that's what I want to tell you. The truth is, currently now, we are in beta. It's not yet that, but you've got to look at the vision. People are going to enter for free. Yes. Will they get an energy boost upon registration? Yes. Would it contain 150 energy points? Yes. Would they be able with that already to start engaging the platform? Yes. Would they be able to, for free, without buying more energy boost or energy points, to post valuable content? The answer is yes. Could people share it from them? The answer again is yes. Can they earn from it? The answer is yes. Can they then, from that amount, buy more energy points? Yes. Did it come from their pocket? The answer is no. Build the story for yourself. Understand the story for yourself. Become the number one fan. Understand what is it that you do. What is it that you have to offer to your neighbor, to your friend, to your colleague, to an old class member? Think about that. Live with it. Go to bed at night and think about it. Put all the arguments with your spouse for another day. When you go into bed, think about those stuff. Tell your spouse you're falling asleep and actually be under your cushion or whatever that, or your pillow, I don't care what, and think, how am I going to be better tomorrow? What can I attach to this story so we can make it a better story? I should wrap up actually now, and I shouldn't wait for another 15 minutes to close the call. This is the most powerful moment we can get with this call today. Live with this company. Your story is singular, but we are one family. We are all different. It doesn't matter. We don't have twins here. We don't need lookalikes. We don't need our uplines. We need ourselves, our own story. How do we fit in that story? How do we encounter the current problems in the market? What can we do to bring something better to the world? Where we can at least debate topics without being censored and without being bothered by so many advertisers and without being bothered by the idea, is my information being exploited now somewhere else? People tell me, how do I know you don't trace? Well, you know what? Check my cookie policy, check someone else's cookie policy. Go to your IT expert, make them check your entire computer to see which cookies of Vitae are on your PC. If you want to know and hit the truth. It's your computer. I don't have access to it. You have access to your computer. Check it out with your IT expert. Does Vitae track my information or not? You'll be surprised by who is following you already when you start looking through your cookies. Oh my God. That ain't cookies, man. That are like really stinky crumbles from I don't know which kind of cookies they made. It's very simple. If you don't believe in it, you don't feel like it, you don't feel attached, be like the people who watch crypto. I know people who bought cryptocurrency, Bitcoin by $100. I know someone very good who bought them by $300. I know people who saw it by 63,000 and yet said it's a bubble. Cannot forget, I was once at a wedding together with Shag, and a Bitcoin was at $500. And someone asked us actually, if we think it's going to go up even more. And Shag told him, when Bitcoin is going to hit 80,000 euros, you're still going to ask, is it going to go up more? For the stupid 500 euros you want to invest in. It's not for you. Bitcoin is yet not still by 80,000 euros. And God knows if it will hit that price one day. But man, between $500 to $50,000 with this man and this person, yet still not even with his 500 euros. I mean, think about that. It's sad. I'm laughing, but it's sad. But hey, they're right, these people. Yet the majority of the world does not recognize yet the potential of Vitae. Many of them, for the same reason we didn't recognize the potential of Bitcoin, because they didn't know about it, because we didn't know about it. I don't remember Bitcoin as $50. I didn't know about it at that time, because I probably hang around with people who talked about rubbish and not about serious stuff. Maybe I had to adjust my environment. Luckily, I adjusted my environment early enough so I understood what crypto is. Luckily, again, if I would stay with the same environment, Vitae wouldn't exist, because I wouldn't even come up with something like that. I wouldn't even think about taking entrepreneurship on my own. I'll probably rob somebody's store at night alone. Maybe, I don't know, pick up the garbage for them. I have no idea what I would do. Adopt yourself. You can change. People can change. People can change. We're turning nearly the 1st of August of 2021, and I look back at 8 years that I started this journey of network marketing. At that time, I was in an event, and I sat at the back of the event, really at the back, and I came in late, as usual. But I remember I borrowed someone's car. It was then a model Opel Kadett from the year 1991. It was really an old rubbish piece of metal. And we parked the 2 roads down, after the meeting place, because we didn't want people to see which car we arrived with. If you would ask me that time, Mendy, do you see yourself leading events, leading Zoom calls? I would think you're like, are you an alien? Which planet are you coming from? I mean, like, what? Me? No, never. That's so not me. First of all, I'm very shy. I'm really a very shy guy. It's so not me. I mean, I don't even know the people. Why would people even listen to me? So it's not me. Do I recognize myself today? The answer is yes. I feel very comfortable today because I've earned it, because I've done all the work to get here, because I never rested. I always wanted more, because I always knew I never arrived. And there's always so much more to learn. That's my story. I so wish each and every one of you to fill up a Zoom room for yourself and be able to tell your story. It is time you guys start doing your own Zoom calls, even if it starts with 3 followers or even 1 follower. There is a place where it starts. I didn't start with 100 or 200. Luckily, I see for the summer to start opening up. I cannot wait to do live events again. I didn't see myself talking to an audience at all. It can happen. Most people are fearful of being successful because it's going to demand from them, or they're going to be busy and they can't attend a party on the Sunday because they have an event. Well, I choose not to attend a party at the Sunday because I got to attend an event and make my own parties at my watch, at my style. Doesn't happen on day one, but it's possible. I always tell you guys, when you feel it that it doesn't go forward, go back to square one and start over. And I had a very tough week the last week, and I'm being very honest about it. Yeah. And a lot of discussions, a lot of things, that we're building, and sometimes we get stuck, and I'm like, come on, you know. So I went with Shagi yesterday. I picked him up, and I told him, let's go have a drink. Now in Belgium we can have a drink outside. Let's go have a drink. So I went to a place I used to visit a lot at my early stages in network marketing with the previous company. They were closed, never mind. But we were standing out there, and I'm telling Shage, I was sitting here signing the application for the first network marketing company I started. It was August 1st, 2013. It was a very, very hot day. And I didn't have €1 in my pocket. I had to come up at the time with €2,500 to join that very company. But I signed the application. And those who know me, my signature is more holy than my word. I mean, my word is more holy than my signature, but it goes both ways. When I sign on something, I'm doing it. I mean, eventually I did it, yeah. At the moment I was signing, I didn't have €1 in my pocket. It was a very, very hot day. And I went from there. I mean, I was still a newbie and an amateur that I needed to show off as well. That was at the time me, being very honest about it. So it didn't suit me to tell the person I met, hey, listen up, I'm living a few kilometers away from here. Do me a favor, give me a ride home. When we finished the meeting, just shaked hands, and I went outside. Probably the person thought, okay, maybe I'm having a car or I'm taking public transportation. Doesn't matter. I didn't have the euro to pay the public transportation, nor to buy a can of Coke on the way. And I did this way from there by foot until I got home. Most of you decided that time, forget it. If I had to go this through, never again. You know what I said? Forget it. If I have to go this through, never again. Never again would something like that go on me in my life, that I couldn't afford a can of Coke or transportation or whatever I want in my life. This walk was the best walk of my life, the most painful, the most hard. I remember arriving home, I was like literally flat. I decided at that moment, from now on, we're going forward. It doesn't matter what hits me on the road. Believe me, I had many roadblocks. I had ups and downs. Those who know me from these years know exactly what I'm talking about to the detail. That was the best walk that I learned something from. That point in time, I figured out in this walk, how am I going to get to 2,500 euros? We're not talking about 200 credits. When you don't have it, when you don't have a job, I didn't have an income, and I couldn't ask it from my parents. I had to come up with a plan. Who am I going to borrow it from? And how am I going to pay it back? It took me a decision forward. When nearly 8 years later, we're sitting here today. It's not going to take me another 8 years to be the number one platform worldwide. If we do the right way, if we walk that path, if we walk that walk that I did, and we take the same lessons from it, if we all go through the same walk, if we all do the same, not thinking about how am I paying today my can of Coke or my transportation, oh, I don't have it, bye, I'm out. If we think, how can I make sure that this never occurs in my life again? If we live day by day by that, that we never go back to that situation, we will win and we will win big. And in 5 years, we can become the most unlimited people ever, ever, ever in life. It's not just that the platform is going to be the number one, we are going to be the number one. That's what we need to think about. We will all walk this walk alone for ourselves. But at the end of this road, we will meet all together to say together, we are Vitae. I love you all. Good night.